Welcome to Navarrero's online showcase video, M.I.A. edition. Today we are back to finally start the oil supply run, possibly the last big adventure on this map. I gotta say I got really tired of some of the BS the game was throwing at me for a while, so I took a bit of time off. With the new anniversary update, things don't seem like they improved, but hey, I wanted to do this. I don't want to put this off forever. And yeah, we are going to see how far I can go here and just go from there then. So to start out with, we need to do a supply run for the oil field. I have a specific train here for all of it. So we have Jackal, which I already started firing up. And we have all the cars that we should need. Starting with 2 logging cars for the pipes. I have no idea how many stake cars, but they should be all for the beams if I remember correctly. Then another 2 logging cars, again for more pipes. And then a singular small boxcar right here. This should all mean that we supply the stuff at the correct ratio. So once we deliver everything, the industry should start processing it, and the output, I don't know how much we are going to get, but in the end, the input should be at exactly what we had before we put anything in there. So everything we deliver should be fully used up. And yeah, it means that we need to get to a few places, starting with the ironworks and then also the sawmill. But it should be all good in the end. I recently did a slight change to my ironwork setup, so we can also see how well that's going to work. So let's finally get into the engine. Let's quickly map out the route that we are going to take before taking off and going the wrong direction. Because we actually need to go to the east over here. Then to the north, which we have right here, and yeah, that's definitely the wrong direction. This would get us to the gold mine supply train, which we don't want to. We would likely be going in for a kiss and just ram the engine head on. But yeah, we want to stay to the west side track and actually go into this industry right here. And then from there, go to the right over here, and oh god, this is going to get complicated. So the input side, and I know this is a lot, but the input side should just be over here, going straight, going to the left, and I think to the left again, and this should get us onto the most inside part of our little spiral over here. Okay, that should all be good. Now that we've seen it on the map, let's go and yeah, actually do this in for real now. Can also get rid of the brake. Enter the F menu. And check that the entire train is coming along. I had some weird issues with some cars just disconnecting and starting to pull, so always good to double check. We are full on water, pretty much full on coal right here, sand which we don't need to begin with, so we are all good to go here. Compressor open to 10%, should keep the brake air supply fully loaded up. So yeah, this is all working out. I wish I had maybe like an automatic light in here. Just putting on the headlight because I think it looks nice, and with the current weather, yeah, kind of befitting. The number is still 12.1 from the engine's old uses as like a double header. So this one was actually the one at the very front. Yeah. And the 13.2 or 12.2 what it was was right behind it, identical engine called, as you might have guessed, M.I.A. And I think that one has seen another use recently. I think for the water supply car, or for the water supply train. So that's all the way in the east. We might actually be meeting it later down the line. But first up we need to get the supplies to begin with, and then we can go there. So we are now northbound on the main line, and a few switches later we should be turning off to the left and going into the industry. Also right now, if you are in the F menu and you open the map, click on it, you cannot do anything with the regulator and all of that anymore, so I need to actually get out of this menu and enter it again. Here we go, off the main line, onto the siding, onto the industry track. I wish there was some marker for this. Maybe I could put up a yard sign or something. But I feel like there should be a way to mark out the main line a bit better. I mean, some people double track it, but with the current options in the game, I don't really feel like doing that. And yeah, there are a few signs coming up. I hope everything worked out well with how I set up the switches. Might as well give it a little welcome. Yeah, it's telling me to go slow, so maybe let's just cut the regulator. We shouldn't need more power anyways. You can just coast in there. We'll likely need to pull the brakes anyways. Our helper engine for the day is waiting over here anyways, and I'll need to fire that one up as well. I hope I have enough supplies that I don't need to go onto this side and add more. But yeah, this should hopefully be very straightforward. So we have one siding over here for boxcar, for loaded boxcars, just to keep them out of the way. And yeah, this is for the empties. So we are right where we need to be. Can also just move back a few cars, just so that we can see how far we actually need to go. And really, we need to not go much further than this. Let me just pull the brakes real quick. They changed them again, but now they are arguably maybe a bit too weak on some cases, but I mean, this worked out pretty well. So I'm not going to complain there. The cars here going a bit too far apart from my liking, but what can you do? Anyways, yeah, we've come to a halt. Can turn off the headlight right now. Disconnect the coupler. And if I set everything up correctly, we should now be able to just drive onto the turntable. So I'm gonna just let it slowly come along and check the turntable. There should be a direct connection here. It's like every other track should have a direct way to get onto the turntable. The rest ends into a stopper right here. Yep. Okay, that engine is very far away, so no need to hurry, but I'm just gonna line it up real quick. Just like this. And yeah, this also makes it far easier to get in and out of the area. After all, we need to turn the train around, and this is now a very simple and, in my opinion, elegant way to do it. So we just run the engine onto the turntable. And then we are pretty much good to go here. Yeah, it's definitely... the brakes are far less aggressive, but they may have overcorrected in a way. It wasn't good how it was before. I think this might be an improvement, but Yeah, for Vistas being the engine, having air brakes and all of that, I think it should be a bit quicker to come to a stop. I mean, really, I don't need to do anything here. I can keep it where it is right now. I think I used to have another siding somewhere around here just to have a bit of runoff, but I mean, that engine is out of the way of anything, so let's go over to the helper. Flip the switches, add a link, and then get into it. And yeah, this is the stuff that I love about the playthrough, just having everything set up in a way that it makes sense, and yeah, it's just all set up in a very efficient but also kind of fun way. Brake should be cut loose here. So the engine still needs to heat up. I think this would likely lead to an explosion in real life or something. I don't know. But hey, we are somewhat functional over here. And yeah, putting in this track to connect to the turntable, that was quite the undertaking, getting everything to line up with corner radius and all of that. I even needed to rebuild all of this stuff here, but I think in the end it's worth it. It is how I always wanted the things to be, but it just took some figuring out. Okay, let me get into the engine real quick. Need to hit the brakes. Hit the brakes, don't hit the car. It's fragile. Okay, that's okay. You know what? I'm just gonna pull the boxcar ahead. Hey. So the thing is, I know that especially with the full-size box cars, loading them up can take a while, so I made sure to set it up in a way that these are out of the way of everything else. Which is why we take the box car first and then take care of everything else after. Gotta say, some of the UI elements reworking definitely paid off here. You know what, I'm gonna go in here, switch over to this car, and this is making everything so much better now. Hit the brakes and perfectly lined up, so this can now be taken care of while we deal with everything else. To be clear, all of this setup came about before we had the change to cranes now loading 3 times as much as at a time. So yeah, things are a bit quicker on their own now. And I think something might be going on there with the cars and the boxes. They seem to be jumping off in a weird way, but they still seem to be caught by the boxcar in the end. Please tell me that you're not just wasting the resources. Okay, it's getting filled up. So yeah, I don't know, the whole bug thing seems to be very prevalent with some cars, but I hope in the end... Okay, we are full. Crane stop loading. We are good to go there. I hope it's not too much of a mess. Okay, let's connect the cars right here, and yeah, I'm still working with regular couplers. I never liked the implementation of the other ones, so I'm not really going to use them. You can bet whatever you want that most likely, if they added a maintenance workshop where we can also change the colors of everything and upgrade to knuckle couplers or buy knuckle couplers for the new cars to begin with and have it more like an upgrade path, I would have done all that stuff by now. I just hate it being a menu option because they're just so cheap. Anyways, we go back into the Mason Bogie and yeah, reverse back into the loading area now. This is going to be much more useful on the other part once we get to the sawmill. Yeah, let's just let it slowly roll in there. I hope the loading is going to go well. I don't want to waste steel pipes. I don't have that many of them. I need like 36 or something, so about a bit more than half of them. And it would be nice if all of them ended up on the cars and not next to them in the dirt. But yeah, that seems to be working pretty well. Definitely some desync going on with cranes and all of that. Okay, so we now get the next batch of cars. Let's hit the brakes again. Flip the switch. Okay, the thing about why the entire train setup is what it is right now. First up, I always have at least a few more boxes at the oil field already. So getting the boxes in there isn't really a critical thing, which is why the car is at the back. After all, if I put it at the front right after the engine, this thing would fly off the track whenever I try to pull the entire train, because of how fragile these things are. The other important thing of note is that I have, and yeah, this is the whole issue with cars being frozen in place again, because this thing doesn't budge anymore. If I keep applying the force, then yeah, now it's working. But if you just let it roll in there, it's just gonna bounce off. I have some of the pipes on the front of the train and some at the rear. And this is to do with how the capacities at the oil field work out and the processing. I'm pretty sure that it doesn't have enough capacity to take all the pipes up front and then all the beams. I would overfill the pipe storage if I put everything in right away. I think it's like at 30 or something. I mean, I can also quickly look. Let me just check. Yeah, we can have 30 pipes and 30 beams in there, but not more than that. So the 36 that I'm delivering at a time would be too much. And therefore I deliver half of the pipes to begin with, then all of the beams, at which point, since we have pipes in there and we already have some leftover tools from the last delivery, because there will always be leftover tools, I can then just go ahead and unload all the beams, because by the time I unload the last beams, at least some of the stuff will have already processed, and once I get back to the last pipes on the train, there will be enough storage space available again. So that's the entire idea behind this. I need the industry to already start processing some of the stuff before I'm fully done with the delivery, because otherwise I'm going to overfill and waste a few resources. And to drive this home again, because I didn't just... Where the hell is my mouse gone? I didn't look at this specifically, but yeah, I have 36 tools there just left over. And they are an integral part of how the entire thing works out. So let me roll this thing past, and then we can reconnect this part of the train. I gotta be gentle because those cars are going to be frozen in place. Oops, I want to actually take this tool. Oh, and I should have maybe also changed the whole thing here, the switch to not go into this part, because this is a dead end. If I ran this any quicker, I could have maybe caused a derailment here, so note to self, after the engine is out, put this over into the other direction. And yeah, let's take a look at the rear. Definitely hit the brakes here. And now slowly and gently, because this thing is not gonna roll. Ah, actually it is. If I did that any faster, it might have caused some problems, but this is okay now. I don't think I have any brakes pulled on here. I don't know why that is so far apart. Likely gonna break apart at some point. You know what? Slightly pull the brakes, but yeah, I want to recouple that part there, so I'm going to push them all back together, push through the brakes of the last car, because I need to get this all cleared past the switch, and then we can continue with the rest. But by pulling the last brake a little bit, I make sure that all the cars end up together in the end. And we should be good right here. I need to come back with the last two logging cars anyway, so yeah, that can roll as far as it does. Doesn't matter. If I need to push it a bit further, I will just do so. Also, while I don't usually talk about other games too much during playing Railroads Online, I gotta say, if you watch the Century of Steam dev update where they actually did some gameplay showcase, honestly, ever since that video, this game feels like we have Century of Steam at home. And yes, that is a diss. Because bloody hell, this thing is so rough around the edges. And with those cars just popping off there, I mean, I think I had a brake pulled here, but no, I didn't even. Yeah, it did it again. If you just roll into there, it's just gonna boink for the most part. This could have been so much more. But yeah, enough about that. Let's get back to the task at hand. I need to not switch this one right here. Ah, tabbing out and back in actually gave me back my mouse cursor, so that's another option on how to get that back. I mean, I could just go into this curve. Do I want to reconnect them first? Possibly. I mean, they're pretty much in the perfect position anyways. Let's take care of the other end and then pull everything slightly further ahead again so that it's perfectly lining up. But hey, we are almost done with the first part of our resupply journey. You know what's funny? They fixed this exact behavior on the large gondolas, and now it seems to be a more constant problem on the others. At least if you don't have everything linked together. Oh yeah, I didn't get rid of the brake, did I? And yeah, if I was to push this any further down the line, eventually there is a stopper there before the turntable. So that's the second most inner track. I was at some point actually considering maybe doubling this up, going twice the length. And I mean, it seems like a fun prospect just having two cars here at the front. Then I think, I mean, 36, so that should be like 12 stake cars. Then four more cars for the pipes in the middle, then another 12 stake cars, and then two more pipe cars, and then two little thingies there. It would work out, but I don't know if I really need this. This is going to give me quite a bit of oil anyways. I would actually have to check in if it would make sense to go further than that and yeah, get all that filled up. Because if this actually creates too much oil, then it would be hard to ever do a resupply run. And I could end up with a situation where I don't have enough for my crude oil delivery train at the oil field, but if I do the resupply run, I potentially overfill. I mean, that shouldn't happen, but yeah, better take care that it won't. But yeah, we are all loaded up at this industry. We need to reconnect the little boxcar. Oh, and our actual road engine. So yeah, let me just pull this a bit further ahead since we are at it already. But really I need to disconnect this part now. What I like about the couplers, by the way, is that in order to make this work out, it is kind of interesting. You need to think about things a bit more than with knuckle couplers, I think. In order to plan out which one has the link in there in order to get everything connected. It's a tiny bit of management, but in my opinion, kind of an interesting one. Okay, this is staying clear of the switch. Did you just see how much that engine was jumping over this part? I think this is exactly why the whole thing tends to derail that often, and they definitely need to take care of it. This shouldn't be happening at all. Like, why? Why did it just do that? But hey, we are almost done here. And I just fell out of... I fell out of a cabin, but if you didn't know, there's actually a second brake lever, and it just goes straight through the hand valve here. I don't know how they thought this would be working out. And funnily enough, if I pull this one is going to get changed as well. There are a few of these around, and they likely are supposed to be different brake types or other stuff that you should be doing there, but the game doesn't make much of a difference there. The engines always only have one type of brake. Then there is maybe a tender brake, but only if there's a separate tender, and everything else goes from there. But hey, we managed to get this train loaded up. Just need to do the last reconnecting bit. And then we are good to go towards the sawmill. I think that should be another episode then, because we are already at half an hour, but I mean, these things can run a bit longer. So let's see, we have a Lincoln pin in there. How do we look on the other end? No Lincoln pin here. But there is one in here, so yeah, that's going to work out. This one in the end doesn't matter. And yeah, with these cars, if you run past them, there's always a weird amount of artifacting happening. Seems to be some render thing, or what was it again? Something baked into the engine, and they just chose a bad option from what I heard. Okay, we are past the switch, so let's move backwards. As we get a bit of rain in here. I set the dynamic weather to like 5-minute intervals so that we get a few things happening. And hey, it's been working again, which is nice. So, yeah. 60-minute daytime, 10-minute nighttime. That's how I like it. I think I've loosened up the brakes again. But yeah, we are now a bit loaded, and I think I also need to take care of the firebox again. You know, the old low couch thing was definitely a lot better for refueling the engine. A lot of the angles don't really work out anymore. Okay, how are we looking on the other end? Oh, we actually passed where we need to be, so pull the brake. Remote thingy magic the switch right here. Tap out, tap back in to get the mouse back. And let's just gently bump into the boxcar. I should be really careful here because the brakes are so weak, and there is now a bit more weight behind the train. The cargo is usually heavier than the cars, which is pretty efficient. But it also means that once you load the cars, the behavior is going to change significantly. Okay, let's see if this thing will even budge. Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, now let's move back here. If I had automatic couplers, I actually would need to come here, but it's okay. Now I just need to get the coupler activated, and yeah, I had a case a while ago where it took like 5 minutes to get that, or at least it felt like 5. I don't time these things, I don't know. But I should definitely be putting down a save now, so M.I.A. 2, yeah, let's confirm. And let's continue. Again, plotting out the route from here. The train is all back together. So we should be going down here, then not back into the main yard. We have over here. Going straight down, and there are multiple ways to do this now. I don't really want to turn the engine around at the sawmill again. I don't think that's really necessary, so let's see if we can do it without that. So we move over here, through here, and let's go on to the innermost track. I think that should be alright, and we maybe also... Yeah, let's put the engine in where it's raining after all. So aligning all the switches so that we can drive right through and into the engine shed. Hopefully only with the engine and not the entire train, but hey, that's something we'll need to see, and I'm going the wrong way. That was a bit of a spook. But yeah, we are looking pretty good here. 12 empty cars. Also gotta say, the game is running amazingly well now. I should maybe take a look at how much GPU it's using, because that was quite the weird thing. Also for some reason we are rotating now. I'm not moving the camera at all. I mean, you can see the mouse, which I usually would need to press, and yeah. This is me now, and I did also the last thing there, but it does a weird amount of rotation on its own. Nothing too bad though. Back at the engine. This is such a neat little train. I don't know if I even would want to make it twice as long. But hey, the operations here definitely worked out smoothly, so nothing really to complain about either. So there is potential to make more. And I mean, pipes, there aren't really that many cars that I need for that, it's more the beams. But I also like just combining some deliveries here and not doing everything as unit trains. So this is kinda cool, even if it is a bit more setup time. I could maybe also pull the reverser back a little bit. Should be able to run this a bit quicker. But yeah, this is really what the entire system works out to. I at some point just click on here, see if it goes faster, and that's pretty much my job done with my interaction with the cutoff sim. Riveting gameplay. Also, in between episodes, ever since the last update came out, I decided to actually do something about another project that I had in mind here. I don't know if we are ever going to use this, but there's now a different track over here. This is a 2% incline that's bypassing the whole switchback section. So this is now a different way to get over this, just so that I can get some trains over there without having to either go the long way around or potentially having to shorten the track because the whole thing just yeah, can't really go up the switchback. I actually over here came down quite a bit with the track and then needed to go back up again due to the terrain. I wanted to try and go over this side, but there would have been a lot of floating bridges all around and I wasn't really happy with that. But yeah, the thing that I have there looks about as natural as you can make it, I think, so it's okay. Yeah, again, just getting my mouse button back. Or the cursor, I mean. And yeah, we are coming up to the sawmill now. It's actually over there. But we are going to go in from the back. I made this entire industry pass through a while ago because I need to use it so often. And it's not always fun having to turn the train around for every operation. So that's now an option, but not a necessity anymore, which is nice. And with how all of this is working out, I don't think I need to necessarily turn this thing around. And I think we are going to try and load up everything in one go. So that should be alright. Theoretically, I could even do this without using my helper engine, but I'm gonna do that anyways. We could separate the train into two bunches, so 6 cars at a time, but with the new loading helper it should be alright going for everything at once. So let's see if we can do that. And here we are on our siding. I want to go a bit further to the other end. It should be somewhere after this corner. Ooh, lightning strike. Okay, time to hit the brake. Wow, the wheels are just completely, they're not moving anymore. We are definitely grinding the things down. So yeah, that's a bit concerning. But what do you expect, really? Okay, now we are moving the engine on its own again. And I'll just open up the doors over here. Just so that we can store it up and use it later again. And yeah, this is my helper engine. Fairways and Cliff House engine, which is a nice little one. It feels maybe a bit underpowered for some of the tasks, but I like having something in between the Class 48 and yeah, good old Betsy. I'm still always considering to make something that can use the Shay, but Shay is so painfully slow. It's not gonna work for this industry because the paths are just so long. And I think I would need to really force myself to come up with something to make any other industry work. So for this playthrough, it's just not gonna be a thing. Bit of a shame. But hey, if they think 5 miles per hour is a decent top speed for that engine, then yeah, then I think I'm not going to use it. Alright, and we are just gonna go out here and take this stuff. I think I want to disconnect the pipes in front, put them on another siding, and then take care of the rest and later reconnect it. I think the additional weight from the pipes is something I shouldn't be dealing with while taking care of the loading. But yeah, I think the delivery of set pipes and everything will be the next video then. We're just gonna do the loading today and delivery and unloading next time around. I should also put down another save in a moment just to avoid the beams flying all over the place. If the stay cars have loading issues as well, we might have a problem with this whole attempt. I was thinking of maybe just loading them using Railroad Studio, but this is a new version, so right now that wouldn't even work. But yeah, usually in Railroad Studio I could just load the save in and yeah, just tell it to put the beams on and that would be it. Okay, the switch here wasn't really aligned on the map. Now we should just be flipping that one. And we should be able to roll these back. Might just disconnect the engine. Kick them on the other siding. And that should be good to go. I could have also used the middle siding, but in the end it doesn't really matter too much. Just want to have these out of the way for the rest of the operation. Yeah, in the end, for this entire playthrough, I gotta say, I'm just happy with how the industries work out, the different setups that I have here. It could have easily been like too overwhelming, just too tedious getting things done, or being just so streamlined that everything basically does things on its own. I mean, not necessarily, there's always going to be some work, but you get what I mean, I hope. And I think this is a really good compromise between the two. And you know what? I shouldn't even be pulling these all ahead. I don't need that. I hope I flipped the switch so that we don't just run it right into the engine shed. Okay, well, that's looking good. We are turning off here. So we should all be good to go to make the most out of this. Except for the point where I completely forget that the brakes aren't really that good right now. I mean, yeah, might as well line it up for these cars. And just like that, I'm going to save. because I'm very afraid, as I should be. Oh, I got out of the F menu for that. So let's see, I think I need to press maybe enter or right click. It would really be helpful if we had like a button prompt over here. Left click, right click, not working. Anything here? On, off. Enter. Control. Right control? No, that's text again. Ah. Get that out of here. So, let me quickly check in the options, controls. But yeah, I noticed that this would be possibly an issue. Allow high chains in flight mode, spacebar, okay. Placement, locomotive controls. Okay, in spacebar over here. Okay, I didn't really try that. Oh, it does something. Okay, now this is cool. I think it would be much more intuitive if I just was able to click on it on the crane, but I mean at that point I could likely also click on these and yeah, might not be the best idea. But hey, we should be able to just... Can I do this in a rolling fashion now? Also nice that the whole thing actually loaded. It didn't give me any grief. Nice. Sorry. I'm still a bit sick. So if I go here now, maybe give it the beans a bit more. Yeah, this is definitely a game changer. I like that this game has a lot of like manual aspects. It's kinda nice to not be too automated, but this is definitely helping out a lot right now. I mean, in the end, how do I better explain the point? It's just... It's a nice bit of quality of life. We don't have to engage with it if we don't want to, which is always nice. But yeah, I don't like the games where you just put the cars somewhere on a track and sometime later everything will be loaded again. I like that there's a bit of manual labor involved here because, yeah, if it's just the whole put it on a siding and it's gonna get its cargo, then you don't need to bother taking care of maybe having a helper engine, like a yard goat or something. It just does its thing and you don't really need to take care of anything. And I like that if you want to make your train longer, at some point you may need to consider changing your approach because it doesn't really work anymore. And if it's too simplified with loading, then you don't get that anymore. It's just gonna do its thing and the train length doesn't matter as long as it still fits on the siding. And I think right now, gameplay wise, this has a pretty good balance between manual labor and actually things just happening. Or more like, it's somewhat manual. You need to come up with a good tactic, but it's not that tedious anymore. So yeah, this is amazing. And yeah, this might be one of those few points that, at least from the gameplay that I've seen with Century of Steam, this game right now has kind of a win over that, at least in my book. This is how I like to handle things. Again, with a lot of loads where you actually need to do like multiple crane loads loaded onto the car in order to fill it up, you will need to stop again, and by just pulling the brake here and then regulator again, it's not gonna be too tedious or anything. That's really not the problem, but you're still gonna have the thought in the back of the mind, how am I going to set up the entire thing there? I hope it doesn't try loading another load here, but used that in the past. But yeah, credit where credit is due. This is pretty amazing right now. Doesn't really matter how you want to do it. If you do it as I did right now, just let it roll through and load while it's at it, or even stop and then go back and forth between the two cranes. Could have been a bit more intuitive when you get started with it, but in the end, this is working, and it's working well, and it's so good. Okay, should probably also cut the regulator again, because otherwise we might run into a little issue right here. And that is cars standing on the track that are going to be asleep, and that's gonna be a rough awakening. Or they're not going to awaken, it's going to derail everything else here, and I'm a bit afraid that I can't even see that much. Ah, there is something. I think that's the backmost car, so the other ones are in front of it, gonna hit the brakes a little bit. I hope this is going well. Let me get the lamp out because I can't see anything myself anymore. So let's run to the back and get everything reconnected. Yeah, it just stopped dead, and we have the linkages inside each other again. Okay, that sounds correct. Make sure all the brakes are off. I don't think I had any on the other cars. I mean, the last one, even if the brake here is pulled to 100%, I'm just gonna pull it along anyways. It may not have any wheels anymore once we arrive, but it's not gonna do anything. And yeah, this animation should also be changed. The lamp is highly annoying. They just attach it to the arm, and it doesn't really care that there is a lamp. The arm is just gonna do as it does anyways. I'm actually trying to turn on the lamp now, but for a moment I wasn't seeing anything. God, it's dark in here. Yeah, I don't know if there shouldn't be like a light in the cab. But hey, we've almost done it. The thing is, I don't know what I'll be doing for the next episode, or more like how much I'll be doing. So yeah, we might just put this back together and then leave it off here and get the other engine reattached in the next episode. because I think I'll bring this over. I'll of course do the unloading. I might bring this back to the yard, and then I might actually have to bring over the crude oil train to the oil field before loading that. I just don't know how much is gonna happen in the next episode, because I think like an hour long might be the longest I'm willing to do here. But yeah, this might be another point to bring up with Century of Steam guys once they maybe make another video or something. I don't know, or if they ever open up their Discord. Because I think there's actually value in the whole loading, unloading thing, and it being more than just put your entire train somewhere around here. That's the end of the train over there. But hey, nightly operations, especially at rain. Okay, it's getting a bit dark here, but it's kind of fun. Why don't I see the link? Okay, but that did make the connection sound. Otherwise, we are going to figure that one out in the next episode. It's gonna be fine. Let me just flip all the switches again, just so that I can get the cliff house back into its engine shed without any tier shed. That just felt so slow when getting started. I wasn't sure if I wasn't pulling the entire train anymore. Okay, we should be going ahead here. Looking mighty spooky in there. Okay, turn off the lights. And yeah, at some point I gave the engine its own water tower here because it doesn't have any real capacity. I mean, is this a sand dome? Weren't we supposed to be able to look at the amount of stuff in here? Ah, here it is. Yeah, 400 water. That's definitely less than even Betsy, so this thing is constantly on, it's constantly dry, constantly thirsty. But yeah, enough about this. I think it's gonna be enough for this episode. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of all the stuff, and see you in the next episode, where we continue this entire endeavor and see what we can do from here. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a good one. Till next time, bye bye.